The object of this video is to show you an easier way to make a letter and letter formats. Letter formats are very important to what you're doing here in this class. So first off, I want to stress some of the techniques that the book is showing you are a little bit behind the times. So let me show you what's going on. If you look at this letter, and you think about the logic of it, all right? This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This letterhead that they've had you create in this one, in this exercise, is actually, from the top of the page, is almost 2.5 inches down on the page. The date line is starting at 3 inches. So logically, in the real world, this letterhead would not be outside the header of the document. So I want to show you how to put it inside the header. If you look right now, if I was to double click inside the header, see, that's the real header, which is the area above the letter. And so in this particular incident, if I had taken this one after they showed you how to create it, this letterhead, and copied it, let's see, I need to get the bottom part too. So I'm going to copy this with that copy command isn't working as well. I'm going to do a Control C, which is hold down the Control key, hit the letter C. Then I'm going to move up to the header and Control V. That brings in, what I was trying to do is to get the entire letterhead. So if you look here, and this is grouped, so if I bring this up, now it's in a more logical position in the letter. And so I can take out, there's a hard return right there, and I know that by using my show hide button. See that hard return? I'm just going to take that out now as well. And then this one also had an underline underneath it. So let's take and make that underline come back. There we go. Now I'm going to go out, go into my design of my header and close it and get rid of this one that they had you make for this particular exercise. Now there's some other issues going on here, so I want to completely reformat this letter. Okay, now the first thing that you want to look for is the default spacing in Microsoft Word is going to be 1.15 with an extra space after. So if I was even to look into the line spacing options, it would say after, that means when I hit enter, I'm going to get 10 points. And then it's 1.15, so it's a little bit wider than a normal document. So that kind of gives you, that's what it comes up when you open a blank Word document in any of the newer versions of Microsoft Office. So this is something that you don't want to change, and they're having you change that in the textbook, and that is something that I disagree with. So let's go here and go to the letter option. Now the next thing you want to do is to look at the status bar. And if you don't have the status of where your cursor is on your bar, what you do is you right click and you go to the vertical position on the page. Okay, now watch that status bar. When you're typing a letter, you have the option of you have some variation from the top of the page to wherever the date comes. And when you have a letter head on it, you want at least 1.5 inches at the top. In this instance, I'm going to hit enter until I get to 2. So I'm at 1.5. There I'm at 2.2. 2.2 is acceptable. So now I'm going to insert the date. Now they had you, this particular letter is not one that's assigned for the assignment. So I'm not going to worry about what they had you do as far as what date you put in. But I'm going to put in insert the date and just do it from my menu bar. Now what this does is it inserts the internal date of the computer. If you click on this option, which says update automatically, that will give you a that will update the date, the letter every time, the date on the letter every time you open the letter. So that it's not necessarily an option you want to use, but you do want to make sure that you use the option for the date as the month, day, year. Now, at this point, all I have to do is hit enter twice. So that's 1, 2, and I type the date. I type the address. I have it already typed here, so I'm just going to paste it in. And notice that was 1, 2, type. Now it's a little bit extra spacing right now, but we're going to fix that in a minute. Now I'm going to hit enter one more time and type in the salutation. Now the punctuation rule is if you know the person, you can put a comma there, but you never put a comma if you don't know the person. So we can just leave it open. It's called open punctuation, and there's nothing typed in there. So now I hit enter and I type the letter. Here's my basic body of the letter as if I've typed it. And if you look, I've hit enter one time after a period, and that extra space after added that extra space so that it looks correct. Now I'm going to, in this particular letter, we're going to put in a table. So I'm going to grab the table that they had you put in. And we'll look at this. No special spacing here. Actually, I still had the extra space after, but it could go through with this particular spacing. There's nothing wrong with this. And so now I'm down at my enter below the table, and I'm ready to put in a little bit more. And notice I'm not doing a lot of enters here. I probably would have added a little bit of space here before the table. So what I'd do is go to home and add space before. Now you've got spacing is consistent throughout. I'm going to turn my show hide off so it looks a little bit better for everyone. And you can see that the letter's pretty well spaced evenly all the way through. That's where I've hit enter one time after each line. Now I want to come here and I'm going to hit enter one more time. Again, no comma, no punctuation, and I hit enter two more times. And this one is called one time. Now there's only two places where I have to remove that extra space after, and that the one is up here, and I want to keep the space after the city zip code area, so I don't highlight that one. And then I come in and I remove space after, and then right here I remove space after again, and now I have the correct format for a block style letter. And that's one style that they don't show you, but it's used most often in business. So I'm going to suggest that you create that you use this style most often. Now, the style that they're showing you in the textbook is modified block. So just to reinforce that, I've put this little cloud on here showing you this is a block style letter. Okay, through the magic of the computer, I am now going to take that block style letter and notice let's go over all the components of the block style letter. We have the letterhead, which is not that's just a letterhead. It's separate from the block style. Block style letters are always lined up completely to the left margin. Everything's lined up on the left margin. You hit enter twice after the date, twice after the sincerely, and always once after everything else. So never hit enter twice unless it's after a date or a close for a letter. Now let's go back here to the same letter. Oh shoot, let's see. It's one of these. I have too many open now. Okay, there it is. This is my letter. The difference here is right here we don't have the extra space after. So let's remove the space after and we're here. Okay. So now my letter is laid out the way that we had for block style, and I want to change it to modified block. Now your textbook's telling you to set that first tab, the tab at 4. And I'm going to tell you that either 4 or 3.25 is acceptable. And that's because the middle of the page is 3.25. 4 is a little bit further over, and generally we've been teaching at Cuesta here a 3.25, which is the middle of the page. And I have conflicting rules that I looked up all the rules and found it is acceptable both ways. So I'm going to take it either way. So anyway, modified block style letter means that you select all the text, set that tab, and I'm going to set it at 3.25. Then I'm going to tab in only the date, the close, and signature line, and the title. That's it. Those are the only things you tab in. Everything else remains the same. Your spacing is exactly the same, and that's a modified block style letter. Okay, these are the exact same letters. Here's your block style, where everything's lined up to the left margin, and your modified block, where the date, the complementary close, the signature line, and the title, the business title, are all indented at either 3.25 or at 4. So if I was going to modify this one, I just select the whole text, grab that tab, and bring it over to 4. So that is a modified block style. And that bothers me because I'm used to 3.25, so I'm bringing it back. Okay, so now you have the basic 2-letter styles. I will accept either, but you've got to make sure that if you're going to do a tab, if you're going to do a modified block style letter, that you use the right use the right tab setting. Now the other thing is the spacing. I always end up marking down people for this. Only 2 times after the date, 2 times after the close, and just remember to keep the extra space after on in your spacing. That's over in your home tab, and you just add the extra space. And this one's got it in there, so, and I just remove it when I don't want it anymore. It's under line spacing options. It's actually 10 points whenever you hit enter, and that's the default for Microsoft Word.